Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own research analysis before making any investment based on your personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you find on our website or podcast and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise.
More money, more money, more money.
What's up, my future one percenters? This is Marathon Money brought to you by Wincrease.com. I'm Cam Jones, Prince of the Stock Market, and I'm here with my boy Kenny Coins. And we also have a special guest with us, Daniel Ameduri. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yep. So before we get into our market recap and everything, do you want to fill our listeners in on who you are, what you do?
Sure. My name is Daniel Ameduri. I run FutureMoneyTrends.com as well as several other publishing companies. But our main focus is personal finance, building up that passive income and multiple streams of cash flow. And basically the idea of our personal finance letter is to replace retirement with financial independence, which ultimately comes down to having that cash flow.
Okay. That sounds good. That's something that a lot of people ask about because some people, they may not be comfortable with stocks and everything like that, so they look for other ways to bring in some money. And we talk about a lot of stock on here. Sometimes we do talk about different ways to make money, but we're definitely not the experts in that. But we do know how to get this 60% in about 3 months pretty easy. Speaking of that, before we get in our market recap, I do want to take some time to brag. So Daniel, if you haven't listened to our show, you got to know we brag a lot on this show because you got
to ride your winner. So let's hear it.
So we introduced our competitor to Jim Cramer's. What's Jim Cramer's thing, Kenny?
Fake.
Yeah. So ours is Staz, STTAZ, which is Square, Teladoc, Twitter, Alibaba, and Zillow. So past 3 months, we haven't reviewed this in 3 months. So past 3 months, 3-month return on Square, 40.99%. Year to date, 93.16%. Now that's a winner. Wouldn't you say so, Daniel?
That is a beautiful return. You really can't ask for much more than that, especially in that time.
No, you can't.
Teladoc. 3-month return, 60.63%. Year to date, 89.67%. Twitter, 3-month, 54.69%. Year to date, 85.3%. We doing LeBron James numbers right now. Now, Alibaba.
Well,
that's the
and
one.
they're safe companies. It's not like you're involved in like a risky no-name company. I mean, these are companies that are not going to go away.
I would say that Teladoc could be risky. It's like a newer type of technology, but I don't feel like I feel like that's going to be the future of healthcare. Alibaba, that's the one that is not doing that well. 3-month return, 10.46%. Year to date, 27.10%. I mean, you're still in the green, but it's nothing like that 93.16 Square gave us. Zillow, 3-month, 27.55%. Year to date, 56.04%. So, Staz doing good. I'm pretty sure it's doing way better than the Jim Cramer. So make sure you're rolling with Marathon Money. So just to get into the market recap from the past week, we were saying a couple months ago when the summer started, or when the summer was about to start, that we saw the NASDAQ was going to get to all-time highs. I mean, it's there right now. We're in the middle of the summer. So we call it that pretty good. But I am seeing a little bit of danger on the NASDAQ. I do see that it is overbought. And we possibly looking at a little pullback here, which shouldn't scare anyone off. Because, I mean, if you've been in since, beginning of the year,
you said it pretty.
You doing. You could take that small little hit right now and use that as a buying opportunity to get back up. But I do see a little bit of choppiness coming, especially probably in August. So I'm just warning everybody, don't be surprised if, you getting on the NASDAQ, you getting a couple 150 point day drops. Just use them as buying opportunities to buy your stuff back up because we still in a bull market. Make sure we ride that up. Oh, what do you think, Daniel?
I tend to agree with you guys. What your overall assessment is, especially August was a very low volume month. Volatility could be high, but the bull market is doing great, and it climbs a wall of worry. And the fact that we're seeing this when you go to MarketWatch.com or when you go to CNN Money and you see an article about an imminent crash or some sort of chart pattern that's the death's cross, that should give you the biggest peace of mind. When the media is talking about it and if everybody's worried about a crash, it's usually not going to happen. It's
right.
When everybody is thinking the opposite.
Right. Yep.
That's true.
What do you say, Kenny? You said something on a podcast that was very true. When people are fearful, be greedy.
Yeah. When people are fearful, be greedy. When people are greedy, be fearful.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is true. And I think so too, because if you look at the NDX, man, there's just a big, huge green engulfing candle. I personally think when I see a golfing candle, the next month is usually choppy, and then a month after that it goes back on track to going back up. Just because I've done this so many years, usually you get that engulfing candle, choppy for a little bit, then it gets back on track, goes down, goes back up, give that breather, catch that wind, and then the bull market continues.
Right.
So I don't know how you guys feel about that assessment, but I feel like August is going to be choppy.
Yeah, we all on the same page, man. I'm pretty sure we all have our money on the sideline, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Ready to buy it up when it goes down. So I'm not scared. Scared money don't make money.
Yep.
Well, and you look at overall corporate earnings and going into an election year. I mean, you've got a lot of tailwinds that are going to come behind us over the next 3 months here.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
So let's get right to the topic for today. We're going to talk about passive income, which my man Daniel Ameduri, he's probably the expert at that. And I'm assuming you're going to give the listeners a couple little tips or ideas on what they can do to earn some income outside of, stocks or their regular job, because that's mostly what we talk about on here, our stocks. But some people are interested in other things,
Yeah. Well, the old saying on Wall Street is you make your money on Wall Street and bury it on Main Street. And that's kind of what passive income is. You're trying to make larger percentage gains, larger net worth with capital appreciation in the stock market, but then you take those profits, keep some of them in the stock market, but take some of them and bury them on Main Street. And that's it probably used to mean like buying a single family house or put your money in the bank. But with as the millennial generation and with this fintech revolution, there's so many passive income things you can do. I remember I used to see all sorts of real estate investment ideas on Sunday morning talk shows when I was a kid, Carlton Sheets, all these people. But you always had to go out and buy physical real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you could go to fundrise.com or use the Fundrise app, and you can purchase into a private real estate investment trust that pays out a 10% yield. Or you can go to Peer Street and crowdfund mortgages. When did the little guy ever get to own mortgages and notes? Now banks do this. So this is, this is lending, and It's been around for thousands of years. It's backed by real assets, by homes. So you're able to get these passive income ideas. Now they only yield 7% or 10%. This is not something where you're trying to have a net worth game-changing moment, but this is somewhere where you can bury some money and say, okay, this is going to be my safe money. This is just paying me a boring yield. It's compounding. It's growing. But ultimately, I always try to tell people to make it real. So one of the first things I did is when we were making about, let's say, $80, on passive income at the very beginning when my wife and I started this journey, we would take that and pay like the DirecTV bill.
Mm-hmm.
I like to take the passive income and actually use it. A lot of people just suggest just keep snowballing, which is great math, but it has people focused on only when they're, spending money when they're 67 years old. why not enjoy your life now? And now my passive income, in 2015, it surpassed all of my bills, all of my expenses, and now I just keep building on it. It's higher than I ever thought it would be annually. Making six figures a year just on passive income. It doesn't have anything to do with my business or what I actually do to make a living. Just sitting there, producing income from ideas like Fundrise and PeerStreet, but also single family homes, back to the basics. But ultimately you want to be able to have that peace of mind that your passive income pays all your bills. And that will allow you to have a lot more fun investing on Wall Street, because you're investing with the peace of mind knowing that everything's taken care of every single month.
Right. That was one thing that I had written down that I was going to ask you about, is peer-to-peer lending and also crowdfunded real estate, which is what you just touched on. And real quick, can you give people the names of those companies you mentioned? You said Market something or
so Fundrise.
Fundrise. Yeah.
Fundrise, you can get it on an app on your phone, or you can go to their website and set it up. But it's simply a private REIT, very professional group. I mean, you're looking at an extremely serious team. On the PeerStreet, if anybody saw the movie The Big Short, Christian Bale played Michael Berry. Michael Berry was one of the seed investors in PeerStreet. The guy who created Google Analytics is actually the founder of PeerStreet. And PeerStreet is crowdfunding on mortgages. So everybody's done or heard of Lending Club and Prosper. Those are the original ones. Those, you loan somebody money, but if they default on you, you have no recourse. With PeerStreet, if they default, there's a home behind that asset. And it's not as if you're loaning them 100% of the money. It's crowdfunded to about 70% of the value. So if they do foreclose, there's 30% equity where you can actually recoup your money. But very successful group, great way to set it and forget it and just start compounding your wealth.
Right. I think that's a good passive income strategy. Right?
That's a really good passive income.
Yeah, that's something I never really thought about. I only had heard about it when I just did some research on, different passive income ideas. And I'm like, man, I was going to ask you about it. I was hoping that you knew about it, and it seems like you do.
The question is that always gets me, man, like I always want to ask, is like, what's your mindset that led you to find a company like that?
Well, that's a great point. So you get addicted to the cash flow. You get addicted to the income. Originally, I just wanted to pay my bills, and I was like, but I've got to do it with my dollars have to do it for me. Mm-hmm. I can't go out and work 20 hours a day. I've got 3 kids, so how am I going to build up this passive income? And it started small. So a lot of people if I can't make $10,000 a month overnight, they don't even want to try. But it starts with the $80 a month or $20 a month, and it does build on itself. It's never gone down personally. Even in the 2008 crisis, you take I had a duplex, for example, that earned me about $1,100 a month. Well, the duplex went from a value of about $130,000 to $65,000. Huge loss on paper.
Right.
Now that property is now worth probably $200,000. But during that 2008 crisis, 2009 crisis, someone might have said, "Wow, you had a 50% loss," but actually the rents actually went up because when there was all those foreclosures, less people could buy and more people needed to rent. Mm-hmm. So the rents I actually made more money on the passive income during the worst real estate crisis in 100 years. So when you focus on that income, when you forget about the appreciation, that has a role in your life. But right now, everybody's got 100% just kind of hoping and praying, having a 401k, hoping it goes up. Look, that has a role. All of that has a role. But again, when you make some money, take some to the side and buy some passive income and just let it build.
Right. That, man, it's excellent. So what other ideas can you give people? Like, I know we're talking about real estate, renting things out right now a little bit. What about Airbnb? Not everybody has the money to go out and grab a extra house or something like that, a duplex. What about, if they had an extra room in their house, doing an Airbnb, renting that out for a little bit? Would you consider that something that, they should look into?
Absolutely. Look, especially when you're in the wealth building phase, you have to be able to make sacrifices on both ends. And if Airbnb is a little discomfort, but you can make more money, then do it. Same thing on the flip side. I recommend people do extreme things to cut their spending. Today my wife and I have brand new Escalades. 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, I was driving a 2003 Nissan Altima. She was driving a Toyota truck, used. I mean, we lived in the desert of California to save money. So when you're in that wealth accumulation phase and you're trying to build up not only your net worth and your wealth, but your passive income, you should be willing to do extreme things. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen for you. If your plan is to do it in 30 years, that's easy. Just do what everybody else does. But if you want to do this in less than 10 years, maybe even less than 5 years, you have to make sacrifices. And I think Airbnb brings up a great point, because a lot of people don't do that because it's uncomfortable, but that's a way to make more money. And think about it. You start paying a bill off, start accumulating more assets.
Right. You do.
Man,
Go ahead.
I think what you said was almost like literally 100% accurate. I always believe you got to do the extreme things. You know what I mean? Got to do the things that normal people wouldn't do.
That make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I believe that. But the problem is, to get that into somebody's head, it's the most difficult thing. You know what I mean? Because they can never see themselves giving up that one thing for 2-3 years. Yeah. You know? Giving just so they can.
Giving up the cigarettes, I mean? That alcohol. No, I'm just playing.
But you made such a good point. But the thing is that it's trying to get that into somebody's head. But I think it comes down to, but how bad do you want to be, like, financially free, or how bad do you know what I mean, want to, like, stop working like 12 hours, 15 hours a day. You know what I mean? But there's only a few people that would get it, and then the rest will just keep doing the same thing.
Right. You
know?
Sure, it's the filling of wealth versus actual wealth. So people buy a new car because it feels great for 3 days, maybe the first time you get to show your friends, then it's done.
Yeah.
And but look, the real filling of wealth is having a paid off house and being able to sleep at night knowing that, look, I've got $10,000 coming in over the next month in passive income, and that's without me even thinking.
Yeah. And then if your house is paid off, that's like an extra, $1 or $2 grand that you don't have to cough up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can put that somewhere else, and just from my research, right, I was looking at a few things, and sometimes people, they're really big in their hobbies. Like, I feel like one of my hobbies is stock. That's one thing.
It's a great hobby.
While we started this. And sometimes people don't know how to turn their hobby into something profitable and still keep it a hobby without, making it a full-time job, So let's just take, for instance, someone who likes to take pictures on the side or whatever. There's a lot of people that just go out there on Saturdays or whatever, and they take pictures and pretty good at it. There's websites where you can go and license some of those photos, and people can purchase them. Like iStockPhoto.com, or you can even do Adobe StockPhotos.com if you meet the requirements for quality for a photo. You can put it on there, and then if people buy it, you're earning $2 per photo. That's pretty good, considering that you take the photo once, you upload it, and you just sit back and don't do anything and just wait for other people to come in and buy it, basically.
Sure, and just like investments, the investments people don't want are usually the ones you can make the most money on. And the most difficult thing with photos is to get a person's consent that you can use their picture. And so, is there a ton on iStock Photo? There's a ton of nature shots. Well, you get the lowest money for a nature shot.
Right.
Go take a picture of a person and have them sign a release liability form. And now all of a sudden you're going to get you're going to make the most money for even less pictures, because those are the hardest ones to get. It's like in my area, nobody wants to buy houses with foundation problems. So I run around telling every realtor in the neighborhood, if you have a foundation problem, call me, because I know I'm the only person who wants it. I don't want to compete with other people with investments. Or if someone's doing a passive income idea or an extra income idea, my goodness, there's all sorts of them there, especially nowadays. I mean, I've even seen ones where Yahoo or whatever will pay you to do a wrap on your car.
Yeah.
Look, there's so many ways to make money.
Yeah, that's another thing that I saw too. People paying other people to wrap their car, be it just an advertisement, just to drive around. wrapping your car in something.
Let me ask you a question. On this topic, what do you think about gig economies? Because it leads into like everything you're talking about. Like nowadays, a lot of millennials have three or like four jobs. You know what I mean? Like they have like their full time job, and they'll have like stuff they do on the side, and like a couple, three or four side jobs. You know, some on the weekend, some after work. You know, something before work. It'll be at least online or walking the dog, whatever it is. What do you think about that kind of economy? Like Uber, for example.
I think it's the future, and I think people who try to fight it are stuck with a layoff cycle, and they're going to be miserable if they try to repeat the life the baby boomers had.
Right.
The millennials need to adopt the freelance economy. I liked your term, the gig economy. They need to embrace it because it's much better. The fact of the matter is, your Uber driver can turn off his work and turn it on whenever he wants. If you're a millennial, we have access to, we could start a business in 10 minutes on GoDaddy.com for $10. So there's WordPress for blogs. There's all sorts of different things you can do to monetize your hobbies, or to make whatever you do for your job, make your employer your very first client. Save him some money, but it also at the same point in time, open yourself up to be able to acquire more clients. So, no, I love the gig economy. I love the freelance economy. It's put us in a situation where, you can travel. You can be, right now I'm talking to you in Texas, but if I was talking to you in a hotel in Atlanta or Turks and Caicos, it wouldn't matter. It's,
right.
I can do this anywhere now.
Right. Yeah.
Because what I was trying to say is that that's what I feel like you're doing. You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff that you brought up fits right into that type of economy, passive income, doing small amount of things here and there and making the most profit out of it.
Absolutely. And you guys are very fortunate that you're involved in the stock market, because honestly, when I got into the money business, you guys and myself, running, Future Money Trends and Marathon Money, we have it kind of easy because look, there's money and there's sex and there's diet, and that's really the key businesses that are just kind of never ending. And for me, I started as a YouTube channel as a hobby, and then it turned into a real business in back in 2008. But anybody who wants to set up a podcast or have a way to connect with people, it's just easier than ever.
Yeah, the technology has made it really easy, and really you just have to have a little bit of drive and do the research online, figure out what you don't know. That's what people don't really understand. We can give all of these types of ideas, but it's not like they just fall into your lap out of nowhere. You still have to put in the work to get it started up and rolling. And sometimes that's what frustrates people, especially if you're getting into different kind of businesses that require a lot of upfront cost or something like that. Some people, they just don't want to put in the work. It sounds like a good idea, but there's a little bit of work involved.
It's just like what you were saying, if somebody doesn't make $10,000 the moment they try, it's over for them. They don't want to do it. They don't realize you got to make a snowball, roll it down a few miles before it can roll on its own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It took time, and I'll be honest with you, when you see it, it piles on itself, because the more you make, the less your expenses are relative to your earnings, and eventually you're saving 90% of your income. But I'll tell you, back in time, 10 years ago, my wife and I really wanted to try to become financially independent. I mean, we did extreme things also. We got rid of our dogs. We had 2 dogs that were 7 years old. I mean, that's just cruel. And we got rid of them because they had medical bills. And, we cut expenses everywhere we could. My wife had the same purse for 5 years. People probably thought we were poor, and we were making great money. We had just paid off the house by 2011. So here we are, mortgage free, doing everything we can to build up our net worth. And, but, amongst our friends, they're like, these people are poor. They're not eating out, all this stuff. We had that short-term sacrifice. but it paid off big because we're both home. We have 3 children, and I get to do great shows like this. I get to share the ideas that I learn about money on Future Money Trends. I get to talk to you guys about it. I mean, I'm literally now 100% doing my hobby because since I was 13 years old, I've been into money, and now I get to talk about it.
Right. So you want to give a little Future Money Trends plug real quick, man. Tell everybody what it's about.
Sure. No, I you guys have obviously an ability to purchase stocks and a trading platform here on your site. If you go to futuremoneytrends.com, it's focused on personal financing. It's a great diversifier with the 2 sites. And at futuremoneytrends.com, we focus on personal finance ideas. So you can subscribe free, and you'll get my weekly Wealth Digest ideas. These are ideas that my wife and I did to build up our financial independence. And occasionally we do stock recommendations, but only about 3 or 4 a year. And they're usually tiny, tiny little micro caps at the IPO level. And that is just because we try to partner with a few key wealth builders. But I think listening to this show and also going to Future Money Trends would be a perfect combo for people.
And real quick, I'm glad you mentioned that your wife is part of this with you.
I was going to say the same thing.
How do you like, to me, it feels like women aren't interested in this sort of thing. How do we get more women interested, or maybe they are interested? How do we get them to, I don't know, do it? I guess I don't know.
We get a ton of women that are just not interested at all. Just to give you example to where we stand, it's like a lot of women ask us a lot of questions, but sometimes they feel like it's just on the husband to really just take care of the finance and stuff like that. And then, something could happen to you and they don't know anything, So just kind of give you that run of a deal where we're at, and we're trying to fix that problem.
Well, so that's interesting. So the reason I wanted to get wealthy was probably because of the greed in me and the drive. The reason my wife wanted to get wealthy is because she didn't want to work. Mm-hmm. So that's fascinating. I've never thought of it, but I can tell you, looking at the data over the last 8 years of Future Money Trends, definitely it's a male audience. Like it's 81% males, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why. I mean, everybody wants to make money, so I don't know why it's different, but it is different in the mindset. I guess maybe for my wife personally was looking more to build a comfortable nest, have the kids, not have a job, that type of thing. But for me, of course, I have the hunter in me, and I want to go out and I want to build something, and I want to, make money. And I was having fun doing it, still having fun doing it. But it's different. How do we attract more women? I think every guy's been asking themselves that for 5,000 years, right? But, they want to make money too. So, I mean, I think you have the same message. Don't change your message. And if they want to come, they're more than welcome.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's 2 heads are better than one. You know what I mean? If you're making 80K and she's making 80K, that's 160K. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? That brings more. I feel like that brings more of a healthy household if both of you guys have different ideas on how to make money, and if both ideas are working. Sure. I just think a little bit differently, because I think that, like, let's face it, you're human, Cam is human. If something happened to us, we can't make money, but she knows how to do it because she was with us. She was with us when we was doing the building process, and she learned herself. And so it's just like, oh, here's the rock. Just keep doing what I'm doing, and it's simple. You know what I mean?
Sure. And it's a common thing, right? If a husband passes away or something happens, the wife oftentimes don't even know where the login for the bank account is.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I just, maybe you talked about it before on your website, I mean, the things that you do, to help, because I think that's definitely, if you're in a relationship, that helps the whole household come together to make those kind of sacrifices. To me, like, when I hear you said that your wife made those sacrifices, I mean, that's kind of like the first time you hear that, because a lot of wives wouldn't give up not having
material
different
things and
purses,
stuff. Yeah.
and you know what I mean, not going out to
Sure.
eat all the time.
So you already won in life, Daniel. Right with that wife pick, man. You picked, that was the first round. That was a lottery pick right there, man.
She's a good saver, I'll tell you. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, honestly, I'm a good saver, but I'm the spender in the relationship. So very lucky that you for sure want to be on the same page.
Yeah,
Such a good saver makes you look like a spender.
Yes, true.
So man, it was great to have you on, Daniel. Do you want to give out, your social media where people can follow you or get with you other than futuremoneytrends.com? What about Twitter or whatever?
Yeah, the main one I run is Twitter at Future Money Trend. But if anybody want to reach out to me, you can always just email me, Daniel at futuremoneytrends.com, and I get back to everybody.
Okay, cool. And you can follow me on Twitter at Camboni11, CAMBONI11. It's the same name on StockTwits, Instagram, whatever. And make sure, if you're listening to this, make sure you come in and join our Marathon Money chat in Facebook. It's a private chat, and there's a lot of good ideas thrown around in there, a lot of good investment. It's mostly stock ideas. So if you want to learn a little more about the stock market, make sure you request to join that chat. What about you, Kenny? Where can they find you?
Kenny Calm 23. Definitely, you can definitely hit me up on Facebook. I'm on there. Twitter's and Instagram. Hit us on Facebook Messenger. And I appreciate you coming on. Definitely go on Money Trend. That's definitely something that I even going into myself, because some of the passive income ideas, those summer ideas are phenomenal. I mean, those are the things that people don't think of to do. Right. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
thanks,
man.
Guys.
Thanks, Daniel, man. We're going to have you on again, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. Till next week. Peace.
Peace.